Hello soulmates, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nelo and you're watching Nelo Stitches. Today tutorial, I'm making this beautiful simple circle dress that has a belt and also a pocket attached to it. For this tutorial, I made use of 3.5 yard of African print. So if this is what you're interested in, please keep watching. If you're new to my channel, subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and also share. Without further ado, let's start. So the first thing I did was to fold my fabric into 4. Because my table is small, I've already folded it, but I'll use paper to illustrate to you guys how I fold. So as you can see, I have 4 folds here. Okay, my fabric is folded into 4. So if you're making a full circle, you're going to fold this up to the extreme like this in a triangular form up to the extreme. So but because we don't want this to be too full, it's a flay, but we don't want it to be too full, so I just fold this way. Okay, I didn't take it to the extreme, to the end of the other side of the fabric. Okay, so here is a paper. From here to here is the 3 yards. Okay, it's 3 yards from here to here. From here to here is the length of the African print. So I'm going to fold the 3 yards into 2 like so, and then I'll go ahead and fold like a triangle like this. Okay, so I didn't take it to the extreme like so for a full circle. Okay, I just folded it like this. I didn't get to the extreme, just like this. Okay, hope this illustration is clear enough. As you can see, this is where it stopped. So let's start marking. So the first thing you're going to do is to get your shoulder. Your shoulder divide by 2 plus sewing allowance. But because this is a sleeveless top, so I'm just going to get my shoulder, exact shoulder measurement, which is 7.5. My shoulder is 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. So but because this is an off shoulder, I just marked 7. I take out ½ inch from the 7.5. So what I marked here is 7 inches. Okay, so now I'm just going to rule that place so that we'll know that that is where the mark is. The 7 inches stops here. Okay, so this is the 7 inches here, as you can see. Okay, so next I'm going to take my neck measurement. So I'll be using 3.5 for this tutorial. I'll be using 3.5 for the neck width, and then for the neck depth I'll be making use of 4 inches for the front and 1.5 for the back. So you can use 1 inch for the back. So but I marked 1.5. Okay, so I marked 1.5. You can use 1 inch, and for the neck depth I use 4 inches. Okay, so this is it. Next I'm going to be slanting my shoulder by 1 inch. On that point I marked my shoulder, I'll come down by 1.5. I came down by 1.5. Okay, I came down by 1.5, and then from this 1.5 I'm going to mark my armhole. My armhole is 8 inches. Because this is an sleeveless, I'll be marking 8.5. Because this is sleeveless, I'll be marking 8 inch instead of 8.5. Okay, so I'll measure what I have here. This is 7 inches. I'll add 1.5. I did not measure what I have. My actual shoulder is 7.5 plus 1 inch. That will make it 8.5. So that is what I'm marking here, 8.5 inches. Okay, you mark your actual shoulder plus 1 inch, making it 8.5. Hope this is clear. My shoulder is 7.5 plus 1 inch, making it 8.5. That is what I marked there, just to get a line for my armhole. And now I'm going to mark my bust divided by 4. My bust is 40 divided by 4, 10, plus 2 inch for sewing allowance. So I'm adding 2 inches, 1 inch for ease, 1 inch for sewing allowance. So I'm going to get the midpoint of this armhole, and then I'll come in by ½ an inch like this, and I'll connect like so. Okay, so next is to take the length of the dress. Okay, so make sure your tape, you're going to place your tape. The length I'm working with is 40, so I want to use 8" for the gathers at the down part. So 40 minus 8 will give us 32. So to that 32, I'll add ½ for sewing allowance, joining of that gather to the main dress. So that is 32.5. So make sure your tape is where mine is. Okay, make sure your tape remains here, and then you'll be rotating it round to the end of the fabric. Okay, but make sure your tape remains there, remains here. So I'm going to take this upward so that we can see what I am marking. So I'm marking my 32.5 here. Okay, I'm marking 32.5 here. 32.5. Okay, so I'm going to connect all my points together. I'm going to connect them together like this, following the shape I marked. Okay, so this is the length of the upper part of the dress. So I'll connect from here down to this point with my ruler. So let me make this line more visible enough. Let me make it visible. Okay, so now I'm going to connect from that same allowance I added down to the hem. Okay, from here I'll connect down with my straight ruler like so, and I'll be cutting this out. Okay, I'll be cutting this out, and for the down part I use some leftover of this fabric here that I'm cutting to cut out the down part, the gather part, and then I added the ½ that I cut out from the 3.5 yard. Remember on the beginning of this tutorial I said I made use of 3.5 yard of fabric. Okay, so I'm going to cut some from this pieces that I'm cutting out. I'm going to cut out some from it and then add it to the ½ yard I have left. So you will join different fabric, you join pieces together to be able to get the length that will be enough. So here I left ½ for joining of the shoulders. Okay, and I'm going to cut the armhole of the front and back. I use the same thing. Okay, I didn't cut a separate armhole for the back and separate for the front. I use the same. The only difference here is the neckline. Okay, so now I'll be using pockets for this. I'll be attaching pocket to this. So what I'll do is to measure where my pocket is going to start from. So my half length is 17. Okay, so this armhole depth already is 8 inches. So 8 plus 9 will make it 17, right? Yeah, 8 plus 9, 17. So here I'm going to mark 9 on 9 here. Okay, so that's my half length, and from that point I'll mark 7 inches down like so. That's where my pocket is going to sit. So I'm going to notch the 2 points, so the space here is for the pocket. Okay, sorry guys for the color of the video. I know it's not that clear, but bear with me. So I notched the neckline of the back, the middle part, and I took it out, and now I'm going to cut out the neckline for the front. So when I was cutting, the first neckline I cut was the back neckline. Sorry I didn't mention that. So you cut out the back neckline first of all, you take it out, and then you cut the front neckline. So this is the front neckline I'm cutting now, because we cut the front and the back together. Okay, so here I am going to mark the opening at the back. So it's 5 inches long. Okay, that's the opening that will be excuse me, at the neckline. so it's 5 inches long. So now we are going to be cutting the facing. So I folded my fabric into two, the pieces into two, and I'll place the front neckline on it like so, and then I'm going to trace out the neckline. You can use pin to secure this so that it will stay in place, and then you just trace out the neckline. Okay, so now I'm going to trace out the neckline. So you can also determine if you want to use the facing to turn both the armhole, you can make your facing wide. That is what I'm trying to explain here. But because I don't want to use it to turn the armhole, I'm going to be using bias tape for the armhole. So I'll just cut out only the neckline and then the shoulder side. So I'm tracing out the neckline right now, and next I'm going to be tracing out the shoulder. Then I'll take the dress out. Okay, I'll take it out like so, and then I'll mark out 4 inches. That is going to be the width of my facing. 4 inches round the neckline like so. Okay, so I'll cut this out. So this will serve as the front facing, and now let's cut the back facing. So the back facing is going to be longer because of the opening at the back side. Okay, so you're going to place the slit. So I'm marking out the 5 inches where I marked. I'm making it visible. So I marked 5 inches from the neckline of the back down. Okay, that's where the opening is going to be. So I'm going to just align it very well, and then I'll trace out the neckline and the shoulder. So I'm tracing out the neckline right now, and then next I'll trace out the shoulder part. So here I'm going to make sure it's longer than the 5 inches, maybe with like 4 inch also. Okay, I'll make sure it's longer with like 4 inches. So I'm going to measure it either 4 or 3 inches longer, and I'll chalk there. So when I open it up, I'm just going to trace that out following that shape. Just cut out something round like this. Okay, so I forgot to cut out the shoulder part before I cut this, but still I'll trim it out when I am done sewing. Okay, so this is it, and here is the back facing. So I'm just going to bring the camera closer. Remember, I notched the neckline for the back, so this is how it's going to look. As I said before, I forgot to trace out the shoulder area, so you can just do that before you cut. So I'm just kind of trying to trim it out, but I'll do that when I'm done sewing so that it will be neat. Okay, so next we are going to start sewing. You're going to place the facing on the right side of the dress like this, right side facing the right side of each other like so. So you can use your pin and secure it, so that it will not be shifting. So you bring it over. You're going to mark on the wrong side of the dress. The facing should be on the right side of the dress. Okay, so I turn it this way so that I can show you guys what I'll be doing. So I'm going to be sewing 1/2 inch round the neckline like this, and then on the middle part I'll also sew 0.25 on both sides like so. That's the same 1/2 inch also. Okay, so you're going to sew from here. You come down to the opening and you go up again, and so finish up the neckline. Okay, so I'm just going to do that and I'll come back and show you guys. And for the front panel, you're just going to place your facing on it, right side facing the right side of the dress, and then you turn the neckline with 1/2 inch also. Okay, so I'll do that and I'll be back. So guys, for the pocket, we're going to cut the pocket. Make sure this part is straight and here is also straight. So you mark out 7 inches, which is your pocket width. Remember, we marked 7 inches for the pocket on the dress. So you mark the same 7 inches here, like so, and then you put your hand in it and just trace out the shape of the pocket like this. Okay, just trace out the shape of the pocket, the width you want and everything, and that is all for the pocket. So what I have here is just 2 pieces. You use this to cut remaining 2 because you need 4 pieces for your pocket. Okay, so I'll just shape this well. Let me trim out this place. So you'll be cutting 4, like I said, this is just 2 here. This is for one side of the pocket. So you'll be cutting 4 pieces for your dress. So here I'm done turning the neckline for the back, and I'm going to notch it around and then open the opening. So this is the front panel. First of all, I'm going to notch it around like so. Okay, and I'm going to turn it and top stitch on the facing. So it's going to be like this. You top stitch on the facing round the neckline also, so that it will lay flat, and then you iron this out. And for the pocket, you're going to place the pocket right side facing the right side of the dress like so. Remember, we notched the 2 points where the pocket is going to be, so you're going to place it right side facing the right side. This is the 2 notch. You place it like this, and then you sew with 1/2 inch. You flip over and top stitch on the pocket. So the same goes to this other side, and for the back panel also. That is how I'm going to fix all the pockets. So here is the 2 notches. I'm trying to show you the 2 notches. So you place your pocket right side facing the right side of the dress like this, and sew it 1/2 inch. Okay, so here is the neck again. Back to the neck. So I have I sewed the way I showed you guys I'm going to sew it, and I am notching the pocket, and I also opened the sleeves, the opening at the back. So let's turn this out and see what it looks like. So I didn't top stitch on the neck back neckline yet, but I'll do that later. So this is what we'll have after that. So we need to create a loop for this facing, okay, for the dress, because it's going to it's going to have a button at the back. So we need to create a loop, and we need to make it neat. So what you're going to do is to get a pieces of fabric. You get the pieces of fabric, and then you decide where you want your loop to be. So I'm trying to trim out the facing so that it will look neat and better. Okay, so I'm trimming out the excess part of the facing. So this is what we have. This is the wrong side of the dress. As you can see, it's looking neat. So for the loop, we need to attach loop here for the button. So you just get a pieces of fabric, you fold it, and just, we know how to make a loop, right? You just make a loop for yourself, and then you open one side of the neckline where you want your loop to be. Can be here or here, can be on this side or on the other side. So if you want it to be this side, you just hold this up like this, and then you open up, use your seam ripper and open a little space where the loop can pass. So here is my seam ripper. I'm going to just open up the little part here where the loop is going to pass through. Okay, so here is the loop. I have sewn it, and this is like 3 inches. I want it to be 3 inches long, so I'm going to cut out the excess. So it's 3 inches long. I'm going to fold it into 2 like this, okay, depending on the size of the button you're using. Though if you're using a smaller button, you can use 2 inches. So from here, I'm going to pass it in this place that is open, is where that is going to be inside like this. I hope you guys are seeing what I'm doing though. You pass it inside like this. Okay, make sure you bring it out like so, and then you just go and close it up. Okay, so you sew it up here So I'll go and do that, and I'll come back. So here I've done that, and when I turn it back, this is what we have. As you can see, the loop is already formed inside and is neat. Okay, that is the essence of putting it inside, in between the facing and the dress. Okay, so this is the loop. So next is to join the two shoulders together after sewing the pocket. As you can see, I've attached the pocket and I top stitch on the pocket. Okay, after sewing it on the right side of the dress, I top stitch on the pocket only, and I did the same thing for both sides of the pocket. Okay, so here I'm going to sew the facing like so. Make sure you match the neckline, and then you close up straight, facing to facing, dress to dress. Okay, so it's the shoulder I'm turning, not the facing. Sorry guys. So here, as you can see, I'm done turning the shoulder and it's looking neat. Okay, neat on the inside, neat on the outside. Okay, and here is the pocket also. So now we are going to shape the side. We're going to shape the side of the dress. So you're going to place them right side facing each other, and then you shape with 1 inch. Okay, or the allowance you added. So I'm going to shape from here to here and then enter the pocket, shape with 1/2 inch, and I'll come out again and close up with 1 inch. 1 inch, you come down, you go into the pocket and shape with 1/2 inch, you come out again and continue with your 1 inch. So I'll do the same to this side also. So here guys, I'm done shaping the side of the dress, and next is to measure the down part of the dress so that you can know how much fabric you need for the gathers. Okay, normally it could be ×2 or ×2.5 or ×3, depending on the available fabric you have. Okay, so when I measure around the hem of my is 51. Remember, this is just the front, so both the front and the back is going to be 104. Is 52 when I measured this part, so both the front and back is going to be 104. So now you'll be cutting 104 inch ×2, which means the fabric length I need is 208. Okay, 208. That is the length of the fabric I need. That's like how many yards? I don't know. So this is the length I was talking about. I cut out, I said I'll be using 8 inch for this. So but what I have here is 9.5. I use 1/2 inch to fold the down part and 1/2 inch to join it to the dress. As you can see, I joined a lot of fabric to be able to get the length I want for this. Okay, so you can join. There's no way you just get a straight fabric that is 200 like that. So I join different fabric to be able to get the full length. And here I'm done folding the down part. Like I said, I will fold the down part with 1 inch, and then the hem, the upper part, I also gathered it. Okay, so this is it. So now I'm going to be attaching it to the dress. So I'm going to close up this part here. So you gather it to the length of the dress, which is the 104. You gather to the length, I mean to the width of the dress, which is the 104, and then you close up the side. So here I'm going to place this like this, and I'll start sewing right side of the gathered pieces and to the right side of the dress, and you sew round. Okay, right side facing the right side of each other, and you sew round the dress. Okay, and then the armhole, I'm going to turn it with a bias tape and just use facing for the armhole. I mean, use hemming gum for the facing, or you can tack it. And this is the final result of our tutorial. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll be seeing you in my next video. If you have any question, leave it on the comment. Bye.